everyone. I'm Victor Lund. Thank you for attending today's commission planning workshop. We're excited to have you here. This workshop is intended for real estate brokers. One of the things that we have focused on at WAV Group for more than 2 decades is finding strategies that improve the success of real estate brokerages. And we have worked across the industry on commission management as one of our centers of excellence. That the group that leads that up is managed by David Gumpper. So he has done, lots of financial conversions for real estate brokerage companies. He has, helped them come up with commission plans and things like that. So too have we worked with our other panelists today, Lantrax, which is a company that has specialized in enterprise level commission management for many, many years with their product called Profit Power. They recently launched a new product for small to mid-size brokerage organizations and even teams called Smarts. It's a little lighter version of Profit Power that's quite a bit easier to use. It connects to QuickBooks as a general ledger product, things like that. So we certainly appreciate having them here. So maybe we could just go and I'll introduce my panelists and we'll get this commission planning workshop underway. So again, I'm Victor Lund with the WAV Group. Ron Hurak is the co-founder of Profit Power, Profit Power is the product, Lantrax is the company. And then David Gumpper, who's been the president of WAV Group Technology for, 5 or 6 years now. So we're really excited to have you here. One of the things that we recognized, especially among our larger brokers, is there has been an enormous and overwhelming volume of commission plans. So if you've been in business for a number of years, you've had different commission structures that you've used to recruit agents or have modified to retain agents over the years. Recently, we did a quick snapshot of one brokerage who has an office with 50 agents. They had 35 different commission plans. This is one out of 140 offices. So I assume that they don't have hundreds of commission plans, but they might. The idea of what we've come up with here is an ability for enterprise level brokerages to be able to look at all the commission plans that they have across all of their agents, whether it's hundreds of agents or thousands of agents, and be able to run models against those to determine how you can bring those commission plans in line with the competitive marketplace that you face today. In every organization, every brokerage, you have real estate agents who may be paid higher than what today's average would be for their production. And you probably have a number of real estate agents who are paid below what they should be paying. It happens all the time because an agent's production changes all the time. And if you have, a top producing agent who's been with you for quite a while, you may have put them on your top commission plan, but they may not be performing at the top commission level, or they may not be earning that level. Secondarily, if you have a real estate agent who you've grown, you've brought into your business and you've helped to achieve greater success, you may have brought them in under a new agent commission plan or one of your lower commission plans, but you haven't recognized how much that they've grown their business. And that really leaves a liability for you that allows another broker to come in and maybe offer them a better compensation program and take that agent away before you even have an opportunity to discuss how you can move them into something that's more competitive in the marketplace. So we took these problems and we started working with Ron and his team at Profit Power to understand how we could collaborate together to come up with a program that would allow us to use technology and data intelligence and business intelligence to go look at these programs over a massive number of commission plans and be able to come up with quick answers for enterprise level customers. So I'm really excited to have Ron here. Not many people have met Ron, but I'm really excited to have him here. He's one of the great minds in real estate brokerage technology. He came up with, arguably one of the better commission management platforms for enterprise brokerages that we've ever seen. They continue to be the leader in that space among the top 100 brokerage firms, which is a place where we spend a lot of time consulting. So Ron, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Great. All righty. David, next slide, please. Okay, so the first thing you might be asking yourself is, who are we? Well, as Victor said, we are Profit Power, and we have been serving the real estate brokerage community really for over 40 years. Many of the largest firms in the US have been using our products for decades. And here's just a small, quick list. This won't take very long to go through, but this gives you an idea of the kind of quality of customers that have been using our products and services for, again, decades. And we're very proud of this list and the number of people who have joined us. Okay, next slide. So what is CAP technology? Well, it's a commission analysis and prediction. Unlike previous types of services, which would only look at archived information, historical information, CAP does that, but it also looks predictively at what you're doing with pending information. So it adds a different layer of comparison and predictability that you have probably never seen before in your life. Next slide, please. So the question is, why did we build this thing? Like, we've been around for 40, 45 years. Why did we create it? Well, we created it because every time we'd get a new Profit Power customer or a new Smarts customer, literally on the first couple of minutes of the conversation is, hey, can you help us analyze our commission plans? We've got too many of them. How do we make that happen? Next slide. And in the past, before CAP technology and we built CAP, and before our association with the WAV Group, basically we'd say to our customers, hey, go find a consulting firm who specializes in advanced data analytics and with specific focus on commission plans. These in the past have been hard to find, and even if you found one, they were very, very expensive, and it could take weeks, months, and even longer for them to do their work. So that's no longer the case. With CAP technology and with the WAV Group, we've created a new service that's going to allow us to quickly solve a lot of the decision-making that you may have when it comes to commission plans and what you should be doing. It should be holding pat. Should you be moving forward? Should you be making changes? What changes can you make? That kind of stuff. Next slide, please. So what we did with our development team and our 40 years of back office experience, we decided to use this literally unmatched expertise to create the CAP and analytical technology using the same advanced and proven algorithms that's inside of Profit Power and Smarts for decades. Simply stated, there's nothing like the CAP technology, and I doubt that there ever will be unless you've got someone who has 40, 45 years of doing what our team has done within the real estate community. Next slide. So with the CAP technology service and the WAV Group, we can create, design, modify, test, analyze, and compare multiple compensation strategies using your very own back office closed and pending sale data. We can literally go ahead and take your pending sales and analyze them, push them forward, close them, and see how hypothetical situations might change your cash flow and help you basically make more profit if that's what you're interested in, or basically just staying above ground, keeping your head above water. Next slide, please. So here are some of the things that we see that you can do with this new service. And there are literally millions of combinations and permutations when analyzing existing or hypothetical compensation strategies. So like, for example, hiring a new recruit, or you've got an agent or a bunch of agents who are unhappy. They got an agreement with you. They want more money. Or you're just looking for new ways to increase opportunities for making more money. Or you want to consolidate your commission plans because you got too many, as Victor said in the beginning. It's not unusual for us to go into a 100-agent company and find, 300 plans, or certainly a lot more plans than their agents. And then ultimately, if you're doing some sort of consolidation or you're doing some sort of merger or acquisition between buying a branch or buying another company, again, that's another way in which CAP can help. Next slide. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to turn this over to David, and he has got a nice presentation. Is going to illustrate some very simple cases of how you can use this advanced technology to give you the knowledge you need so you can make better decisions when it comes to running your brokerage. These examples are just a tip of the iceberg. There's so many things that we can do with this application, but time being that what it is, we decided we picked 2 or 3 things that are probably most common in your day-to-day situation. And at the end of this, we're going to be able to reach out to David at the WAV Group. So if you want to have more information, got some questions, we would love to be able to talk to you more about this product and what it can do for you. It's really not so much a product as it is a service. Again, questions if you have any towards the end, or you can put them into the chat panel. Now I'm going to basically turn it over to David.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ron. I appreciate it. As Ron said, our objective today is to kind of give you just a little bit of taste of the tools that we use, of how we can perform, commission analysis as a service for you, and look at to see the tools that we use. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of the tools that we use. There's going to be other tools that we have already created or in the process of creating to do even more data analysis, and provide that information to provide information back to the brokerages and to the firm. So the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to demo through two common scenarios. And I think we already kind of spoke as, one's going to be recruiting and one is going to be, I call agent retention. Two major pillars in running a brokerage, right? Productivity being the third. Then we, and Ron did mention a little bit about what are some of the potential scenarios that we could do and beyond. So we'll review that again after you've seen the presentation so that you can understand how the tools that we have are going to be able to provide this service to you in a reasonable amount of time and effort and flexibility. That's the biggest thing I have to say about CAPS is giving me the flexibility to have questions that come up while I'm doing the analysis. What better way is to have a tool that's going to enable you to go answer those questions very quickly based on the data that you have. And then at the end, we'll have another question and answer situation. So let's talk about the first scenario that we're going to recruit towards our business goals. So one of the things that we're going to do is, the scenario is we have an agent that has volume that's with another brokerage. They're talking to us and they really want to have a higher split. They want to be able to be at a different split. So naturally, the question to us is, well, what pay plan can I build, or can I put this new agent into that's going to satisfy their needs, but also help me increase my company's earnings, or cover my expenses plus a profit, right? And that's something that we'll talk a lot about. So in this process, we have a couple of steps that we've got to complete. So in our first step is we need some information from the agent, right? And this is probably you're asked all these questions before as you're recruiting, is you want to know, hey, what is the total volume over the last 12 months? What have you produced? What's your sales volume over the last 12 months? And for our demo, we're going to use $5.5 million. The next question you always probably ask is, well, during that past year, what was your earnings, Mr. Agent, Mrs. Agent, right? Miss Agent. It's, what did you earn? And you can usually get that either through 1099 or their tax returns or just a verbal, right? And for our purpose of this demonstration, we're going to use $130,000 that was their earnings, net earnings over that $5.5 million in sales volume. And then not so much from that the associate has to provide you with this information, but it's kind of really important for you to know what is your average gross rate in the market area on a per side. So is it, 3%, or is it 2.7, 2.8, 2.9? And that could change. That could be different between the different markets within your general area, right? One neighborhood or one area of your market could be a little bit getting better average gross rates, and then other markets, it could be a little bit less. But we're going to use 3% on ours. And then at the last moment that the agent says, hey, look, I'm also at an 80% split with my current broker. So, I'm interested in something a little bit better. And that's kind of those are the qualifications that I'm looking for. And the other piece that we need to know, and as a brokerage, we need to know, is what is our brokerage cost per agent? And that includes profit. What is it? What is the minimum amount that we need to make on each agent in order to cover our expenses, have a profit? We should all know that number. And I know it's probably different between offices. It's different between, different scenarios and brokerages and markets of the country, but you kind of need to know this because will help you set some of the analysis that we'll go through. So let's go ahead and start with CAP real quick. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hit this menu button here and we're going to go to recruit. And this is our recruiting module. We're going to enter the associate's name. Keep it real simple, Sally Smith. The total volume, as we mentioned before, is $5.5 million. And then the associate's earnings, they told us that it's invalidated, that it's $130,000. And then the average gross rate per side, like I said, I mentioned before, is we're going to be using 3%. We'll go ahead, and now that we have Sally in here, we're going to go ahead and process the results. And what CAP will do now is literally bring up and tell us, what their agent earnings were, what the performance was, what the company earnings were at that. But that kind of just gives us an idea of, what, if there's, there's no off the top or off the bottom. This is just base stuff. But what's really important is if we get over to this left side here, as I scroll over, we actually see that the agent is at 78.8% split. Well, it doesn't mean that they're at 78.8%. More than likely, they're on a 2-level plan, right? Probably 70 and 80%. And it's kind of like, well, we know we got some room to play with here, and as long as we can show some value and that the agent's going to make their earnings that they're looking for. So what are we going to do? We're going to create a couple different scenarios, different pay plans that we're going to use. And one of the things that we're going to take we're going to leverage in this is, modify the split performance breakpoints. In other words, the breakpoints at which the agent will jump from one level to another. And we have separate different methodologies that we can use to accomplish that. And we call those the comparator. And let's go right into this. And so one thing we're going to do is go ahead and we're going to say, we're going to manage the plans. We're going to create a brand new plan. And from this plan, let's title this Sally Smith. And we're going to do an 80% to 85%. So it's going to be 2-level pay plan. And we know that we need to recoup at least $30,000 in net to company. And here's our comparator. And as you can see, we have 5 different selections. I'm going to select net to company right now. And then the other piece is we're going to make this a 2-level plan. So we need to add this level to it. And we'll change the first level to 80%, both on in-house, outside broker deals on both the list and sell side. And as you can see, we already have a lot of flexibility here on what we can do to do our analysis. And we're going to put 30,000 in this bucket here and hit the reweigh button. And what that will do is modify the pay plan for the 2 different levels at $30,000. We're going to go ahead and say done. And we're going to go ahead and save this plan, and we're going to recalculate it using the information that we have from the original plan that we put in with the recruit plan _1, which is the information we put in. And now we have, well, what does this look like? This pay plan, what does this look like? But we're going to go ahead and build out the second plan. Let me just keep moving here. And this time we're going to just duplicate the plan that we already have. And let's modify this. Instead of net to income, this time we're going to use 100,000 of agent income. And that's another number that we can use to say, hey, this is that we know we need an agent to make $100,000 to recoup. And we're going to go ahead and reweigh that so that it's all on the first level. And we see our splits are still the same for each level. We can accept that. And let's move forward and say done. Oh, let's clean up this here, the copy of, let's keep it nice and clean, say done, and go, yes, let's save this plan. And as we recalculate this, it will now take the plan that we originally created. And now we're starting to see a little bit of difference here in agent earnings, in the company earnings, and total earnings. We have this ability to look through these plans and say, look, okay, this is where we're at. We can actually, the agent earnings are going to be a little bit more. Then, we're making them extra money on this. And now we're going to also take that plan and create a duplicate of it again. And this time, instead of using agent income, we're going to use gross commission. And we know based on the numbers through our accounting department that $125,000 is what we need at gross commission in order to be able to have our minimum meet our expenses plus a little bit of profits. And we're going to put $125,000 in and reweigh this. So as you can see, we can create these plans and different scenarios very, very quickly with different variables, with all the different variables that are involved in building out plans that you want to offer to the agents. We'll go ahead and recalculate this. And now we have 3 new plans that we can offer to the agent. And so let's go over and take a quick look here. And we can see that our run 3 and run 4 of these plans are literally the same as far as company earnings and agent earnings. There is a little bit of difference that we'll highlight a little bit later about these 3 plans. But this kind of gives you an idea of what these 3 plans can do as far as your agent earnings and as well as the company earnings. So what we're going to do is we're going to move ahead next. And, what's the next step? It's about comparing these plans, right? And then let's talk about that a little bit more. We have the ability within CAPS to look at these different plans as we're modeling through different scenarios. We can run, let's take run 2, and we're going to compare it to run 1. And we get this comparison over on the right-hand side. That tells us exactly, based on the run, the agent, supposedly is getting 35,000. And normally we probably wouldn't do this analysis against the what the agent has said that they have produced in the last 12 months. This is just to show you that as we go through this, we'll compare to the other runs as well. And now we'll compare run 2 against run 3, which is net to company against the agent income. And we can see that, wow, geez, run 2, which is net to company, is about $1,250 less than if we use agent income. We also can see what the rates are in the and where does it fall as far as the blend. And that will be a key that we'll talk about a little bit in a little while. And probably on the next screen here. Let's finish done. And then let's take 2 and compare it to 4. Say go. And now we have this screen that will show us the percentages between the run 2 and run 4. Run 2, again, the brokerage will on 4 will make $1,250 less than run 2, but we can go through and save all these different brokerages. And because we saved all these, we can go through now and do a summary. And which is really great. We can go through the summary. And again, like I mentioned earlier, what really makes this powerful is we can do all this comparison very quickly on the fly, because we've seen it where instead of just having 3 plans, we end up making 10 plans to do the analysis against before we come up with the right plan. So it makes it easy and very flexible for us to do it. But this is where CAPS power comes in, is our ability to take this data that we have right now and export it. And you will see as I go through this that we exported all these 3 plans together and exported them out. And what we do is we take that export of data and we can bring it into any kind of reporting format that you like, preferably some type of business intelligence data visualization tool. We can do things like with Works, if you're on Google Workspaces for your email and for your Google Drive and Sheets and documents. We can use Google Looker Studio. And if you are on Microsoft 365, we can use Power BI. So we would literally host these reports within your system. We would help you set up these reports in your environment. So that way we would make the connection back to our database to be able to pull the data in and update these reports as necessary. And the nice thing about it is that we are able to provide these reports that are streamlined, get right to the, provide summaries, provide considerations for you on what you should do and what you can do, or even to kind of highlight areas that might be danger zones for you. So that's just the recruiting piece. Now, our second scenario that we're going to look at is retaining agents. This is my favorite one. I used to be brought into these meetings all the time, especially as a CTO for a brokerage. David, you got to come in and you got to help us keep, Johnny Jones, because he's our top producer in this office, and what can you do for him from a tech perspective and get him. But more importantly, you have these types of scenarios where you get teams, right? They are constantly looking for better deals. And what we're going to use is a team that's threatening to leave the brokerage. They want a higher split because brokerage ABC down the road says, hey, we'll increase your split by 5%, go from 75 to 80 or 80 to 85, whatever that is. So, and again, it's the same old question. What can I do to retain? What kind of pay plan can I put together to retain this agent, or in this case, this team? And then how do I make sure that I'm covering my expenses and I'm making a little bit of profit? So review the existing pay plan. So let's take a look at this existing pay plan that we have, right? We want to look at all the different, what levels are they at, what their performance is, where they're, what are they contributing as far as off the tops and off the bottoms. And naturally, we want to understand and look at, what their agent earnings have been over the course of the last 12 months. And then what is the company's earnings over that same time period. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use this search function. So this is going to be a search functionality that's going to go in. We have the capability, the live search, data search. This naturally is data. We do not actually use the data that's in Profit Power or Smarts. What we do, it's a transport of that data from Profit Power and Smarts into Caps. It's a copy of it, and then we work on that. We never work on live data. And also, when it says manual, that means those are all other. We have the ability of importing your data, your transactions and your agents and so forth from other systems that are out there, other financial management systems. So this is not just related to, we can use this tool and perform this analysis service no matter what platform you're on. We just got to get the right data coming out of that platform and bring it into the CAPS program to make it work. And as you can see, we also closed in pending, and we'll talk a little bit about pending later. As Ron had kind of mentioned, we have some prediction that we can do, but let's go ahead. And I know the team name here is BP team. And you can see here that this BP team has 7 different plans that they've been working over. But what I'm going to do is, for short of time, we're going to just select the one plan that, let's say, this team member, the team this is the plan that they want to increase in order to stay with the company. We already know we've got a number of records over here of 93 sales transactions over the last 12 months. We are going to go ahead and calculate out all those transactions to what it is on that pay plan. What are the earnings? What's the performance? What's the company earnings and total company earnings? We can see from here that this is a pay plan, what the dates are from when this pay plan was run, if there's any off the tops or off the bottoms. But here you can see the agent's earnings. They actually earned $447,000 over the last 12 years, and then the company earned was $148,000. We also can see that you know, what their performance, and this is net to company, as it says in the comparative in the center top of the screen. But we also see that they're at 70%, but they also have a level 2 at 100%. So we want to make sure we get that $20,000 up front as much as we possibly can. And what's nice is we have the ability to actually see that, wow, some of these people, actually, some of these transactions were actually calculated at 100% at level 2. So these are agents that met their requirements, financial requirements on level 1, and have upped their level to level 2 and are getting 100% of the commission at this point. So from there, we have that knowledge, we have that information. Let's create a couple pay plans to see how we can, you know, entice them. And again, you always have to kind of, you know, hypothesize what those pay plans are. It doesn't, but we set these, I kind of said, look, based on that pay plan, here's what we're going to do. But as I said, what's really flexible about this software that enables me to go back in and say, none of these work, but maybe something in between, you know, run 2 and run 3, maybe something in between there. Let's change a few variables in there and see if we can run that. So here we're going to use, we're going to build an 80% pay plan using all the similar information in the existing pay plan. Then we're going to build another pay plan. But if you notice, the pay plan had a no franchise fee. So this is a franchise, let's say. And this pay plan has been, you know, the company's been absorbing the entire franchise fee for the agents on here. So I said, well, what does it look like if we made them pay the franchise fee? Let's put that, you know, if we're going to give them something in return, we want, you know, if we give them an increased split, then what is it that we can have in return for that increased split too, to make it worthwhile? And then, and just as a fallback as well, we were absorbing that franchise fee from the beginning. And now I built a plan out that says, well, let them pay all that franchise fee. The third model then is, well, what if that's too harsh? Maybe we'll split the difference. And so in this case, what we did was we'll use a 3% franchise fee instead of a 5% on pay plan 2. So let's take a look at how we do this. So what we're going to do is highlight our pay plan, and we're going to go manage plans. We select it, we'll go up to our options, and we're going to duplicate it. And let's clean this up. And this one, we're going to change this to 80%. And we're going to still leave the 20K net to company. We're going to keep that as it is, but we will need to modify the in-house and outside broker list and sell rate splits. So we just need to come into here. We'll change this to 80%. So that's a 10%, you know, that's an increase of 10 points to the agent. We'll go ahead and recalculate this. Now it's taken all these sales transactions that we have and recalculate it based upon this new pay plan that we just created. Now it gives us a little bit more information on the pay plan. We have agent earnings. We see what our company earnings are going to be. We make sure that our splits are correct on the right-hand side for this plan. And you notice there's a significant difference between the 148K versus that we're making now versus the 113. Well, that doesn't, you know, I don't know how that doesn't really settle real well for me. So let's take a look at what are other plans that we said we were going to create. So let's go ahead and take this plan here at 80%, and we're going to duplicate this plan. And as we go to the plan, we're going to take this plan, not duplicate it, but this is where we're going to add the transaction, the franchise fee to it. And as you can see from this model is we have a lot of flexibility here of different types of deduction setups that we can perform. But what we did was select the franchise fee, and then we're going to run a batch program that's going to take the transactions from the run 2 and go through it using instead of 80%, using 80% and recalculate that. But now it's going to have a deduction on it, on top of it. And that off the top deduction is the franchise fee. We'll go ahead and delete that franchise fee and take a look at this model and see what does it look like. We'll move over to here. You see that the agent's earnings is 453,000, a little bit better than the 447 that they were making last time. Our company earnings are at 109,000, but total company earnings is 152. And why they're different is because the 109 is actually your net company earnings versus the total earnings is the 152, which includes the franchise fee, which you got to pay back to the franchise, right? So he said, well, let's do this one more time. That might be not so great. So let's go to options. Let's go to deduction maintenance. And I already have created a franchise fee at 3%. So we'll look at that franchise fee. We'll say that it's off the top. It's only 3%. And we'll say done. We'll go to our options, to our deduction planning. We'll select that franchise fee of 3%. Where is it? There it is. Click it, add it, save the batch, say done, and recalculate. Take all those sales transactions and recalculate them again. Now with 80% and a 3% franchise fee. We'll say yes, delete the batch. And now we have our 3 different models, scenarios that we put together. And we see that the agents here, they make a little bit more money, $465,000, because we gave them, we're absorbing 2%. They're paying 3%. Their company earnings we're at 111,000, but the total company earnings is 137,000. So while we're still not above that 148 that we're getting now, but we are at least pulling more company earnings into the split and making it a much better deal for us. So as we go through this, and again, I could keep going. It's about the most fun that you can ever. If you're a data guy, it's about the most fun that you can have. I'm just saying. I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me on here, but it is for me. So, and just like we did with the recruiting, we can go ahead and do comparison analysis against all these plans. We run through all these plans. We can do a comparison analysis on the fly. We can see that, where these plans are, how much company earnings. Do I want to run some more scenarios on it? I have the ability to, easily go through and resort things and look at things, because I will tell you, you will see the screen. It will build up with tons and tons of plans as we go through it, especially if we are looking at something that, to do a whole office. And so I'm just kind of showing you real quick just like we did before, we can do that comparison analysis with these plans. Take a look at it. We have a lot of data available to us. That's output. That's actually output to the that we use for the reporting pieces. And then we can move forward. So, and then naturally that's how we go through it and run it. And as we talked before, and that's the end of the demo for that piece, just to see where we're at. But you can see the flexibility that this tool gives us to provide a service to do this analysis. And some of the, we talked about earlier on, I think one of the biggest things that we were seeing is that, and Victor's not kidding, 50 agents in an office and there's 35 commission plans. And I've seen, 100 and 110 agents in an office and there's 75 commission plans. It's all over the place. And then there's some commission plans that are no longer used, or there might be one person sitting in it. So we do see a consolidation of commission pay plans as a real big opportunity to try to manage your commission management, to make it more simple, make it easier for your managers to be able to select plans to put new recruits in, and that make it available, but also to really do that evaluation of, are your plans really, making, the company dollar? Are they enough so that those agents that never get out of level 1 on a 2-level plan, are they really, should they even have a 2-level plan? Should they be brought back to a single level plan until they can show that their production is warrants otherwise? The other thing that, we talked a little bit about before earlier is, how can a brokerage increase its revenue without modifying commission plans? That's the one thing that we hear is from brokerages is, hey, I've got signed independent contractors agreements and I can't change the commission plan. But can you change the off the tops and the off the bottoms? Let's take a look at what does that look like, and see how that is. More importantly, and this is where we can look at different types of transactions, sales transactions, whether they're closed or pending. We can actually do a projection that if we make a change on off the tops or off the bottoms, or even on the pay plan itself, just use, what pending sales transactions that you have in your system, in your inventory today, and understand, well, if I did this, if I took another 2% for a marketing fee on my agents, what does that, how's that going to increase my revenue at the end of the day? And you can also see how that would work if I'm using different, splits for list and sell side deals, or in-house and out-of-house deals, right? You have that capability to do that analysis, or we have the capability of doing that analysis for you and be able to show you exactly, what's good, and have you determine maybe this might be a danger area, and I don't want to go through this path, but maybe some of these other ones, these other pay plans we can use. And then, restructuring commission pay plans. We just did, like Victor said, we did this for one of our clients, and it was kind of amazing. It ended up, we did some scenarios based on what our client requested. And I don't think that the client didn't move any forward with it because there was the way he wanted to change the commission plans would have impacted the agent's earnings. And it impacted it in a way that was negative, very much significantly negative. So it was great for the broker to say, that was a bad idea. We're not doing it. So, and that's a great thing to have that comfortability. And then one other thing, the last is, if you're looking at acquisitions or mergers, what better way is to do a commission analysis on the brokerage's commission pay plans, right? Wouldn't you, if you're acquiring a brokerage, wouldn't you want to see what the commission pay plans are, how many of them there are, how many people are on those pay plans, what are what's the company earnings on each different pay plan, what's the agent earnings? That's information that is totally invaluable, because if I'm acquiring a brokerage, then I might need to restructure those pay plans in order to make the business whole and make it so that it's profitable and worthwhile for my acquisition. It might also change my pricing on how I want to negotiate for the acquisition itself. So, but and with that being said, I'm going to go ahead, and that ends my part of the presentation today, and I'll return this to Victor for any questions.
Yeah, David, one great question came up is like, how do you take this and really operate it across an enterprise? So you do an entire office. How does that process work, and how does it differentiate from doing the individual agent plans?
The way that the fact is that I can actually do by individual associate, or I can actually pull data, sales transaction data by plan. So if I'm looking at restructuring the entire brokerage and all their pay plans, without any of the other filters, I can search and bring all the pay plans in, and then start looking at the what is the existing company earnings and agent earnings from there, and be able to break that analysis down to build out different scenarios. So the fact that I'm able to export this data once I have all these plans, and I have the data for each plan of what the company earnings, agent earnings, performance, what's in the plan itself. It gives me the ability, then I bring it into a separate, I cheat. I use a lot of Python and other tools to be able to do some data analysis against that, to say, okay, what are some of the better plans that, how can we consolidate this from maybe 50 plans down to, let's cut it in half of 25, right? Or like we saw with the BP team, they had 7 pay plans, and they really probably should have 4 for a team, right? One for new agents, one for agents that are 2 years, 3 years in the business at a certain level, plan number 3 for my top producing agents, and then plan 4 for, the team leadership, because they get a different plan than everybody else. But, there's a way that I can take all those plans like you saw there, export the data, and then do the analysis, provide that feedback to you as a broker to say, okay, here's where we are existing. Okay, what are some of the, what's your ideas? What's your objectives? First of all, we want to know what your objectives are. And then what are your ideas? What's your hypothesis? And then we will go back and try to prove those hypotheses out. And in the same time, we will, as we're doing that, you saw how much flexibility we have. We then can narrow down and say, well, guess what? This hypothesis and this hypothesis don't work, but maybe something in between. And then we can start tweaking the different plans down a little bit at a time.
Yeah, a couple of the scenarios where we find this to be super helpful. One of the things David mentioned is in mergers and acquisitions. So when you're evaluating the financials of a company that you intend to merge with, they kind of talk about, what their company earnings are overall, and they show you things like, transaction volume by agent. This takes it a little further and allows you to export the data, import it into something like this, and then do a plan comparison and understand on an individual level which of these agents are going to need plan changes, and have a conversation with the partner that you're merging with to determine whether or not these agents are going to be comfortable with those plan changes, and understand the risk to retaining those agents and what breakage you might have as you move people over into those. Another key area where we see this to have a tremendous amount of value is a lot of independent brokerages may be considering going to a franchise, or many franchise brokerages may be considering, not renewing with the franchise they have. So some of those elements are also impactful. Companies have really explored modifications in tech fees. So technology has become a very high level of recurring expenses to real estate brokerages over the years. And, we find that depending on who your technology partner is, or the climate or environment that you're operating in, sometimes the level of adoption of those technology solutions isn't too high. You may want to be upping your technology game. You may want to be investing more in better services to allow your agents to compete more, but you may need to get the agents to help contribute to those additional acquisitions. Those types of things are things that you can use this to analyze. But I think the keynote of all of this is that if you're a brokerage that's been around for a long time and you have a lot of agents, and you just want to go review the plans of all of your agents and look how you might tweak some of those plans, deprecate some, as David mentioned, in some of our analysis, we may find 10 agents in an office. All 10 of them are on different plans, and there's only one agent on that plan. So how can we find a plan that's going to be best suited for that agent, so we can maybe move those 10 plans down into other plans without impacting the agent too much, and getting them up to speed with the current plans that the company is providing. So we can do batch processing. You provide the data through an export. We can run that data through CAPS and then into our BI programs to be able to visualize places where brokers can sit down, or office managers can sit down with those independent agents and say, hey, as we move into the next year, we want to put you on one of the plans that is going to be better for you and better for us as a company, and because we've deprecated this plan that you've been on since 1911. So those are the types of things we can do. We are always finding opportunities to find margin improvement for the broker. You guys all understand that commission planning has become super complex over the years. A lot of the recruiting effort that happens in the industry is to come up with plans that are so complicated that real estate agents can't really factor out what it is that they will be earning on the new commission plan, but it sounds good. It's like, oh, I cap out and then I'm at 100%. Well, when do you cap out? How do you cap out? How much is coming off the top? How much is coming off the bottom? What are the tech fees? All of these other hidden gems that you guys have each of you have encountered in recruiting or retaining agents. All of those things factor in. And it's almost impossible if you have a waterfall type commission system to go in and calculate that stuff using a spreadsheet, at least in any given reasonable time frame. But we're able to do that using these programs and really help you streamline your business, hopefully gain some more profitability, certainly simplify your commission plan and make it easier for your commission calculation staff, and improve your business overall. There's a question like, how is this going to help small brokers? Ron, I know that you thought a lot about that. You want to just share some of your thoughts about how CAPS is going to help small brokers in their growth mode?
Yeah, I think I've been doing this for 45 years. Brokerage is brokerage. Regardless of the size of your sales force, you're competing in marketplaces that have all different kinds, enterprise, mid-level, and low. You're trying to recruit and retain people in that marketplace. So your needs and your demands and your requirements are just as sophisticated as a company that may have 5,000 salespeople or more. So we've built this technology service to be scalable. So again, it's going to be a lot easier for a company, let's say, has one office with 25 associates. It's going to be a lot easier for the WAV Group to take that and create an analysis for you at a much lower cost than someone who has 250 to 300 agents in 5 different offices. So it's all going to be scalable for you. And obviously it has to be affordable. If it's not affordable, you're not going to do it. Our general sense is we can show you through predictive comparativeness, doing these hypothetical what if games, that by making minor changes, that's not going to reflect a revolt inside your sales force. And we can double or increase profitability by 10, 20, 30%. And we can show you that demonstratively and through the analysis that David is doing. Then your value to benefit will be easy for you to compare. Oh, you're charging me this. Look at what I'm getting. Wow, that's pretty cool. And everybody's going to be a little bit different. Some people are going to be small brokerage, but high end, selling multi-million-dollar homes. Other brokerages might be, have 100 agents, but 50% are part-time, and you're in a mid-market place at 500 and 600,000. So everyone is going to be slightly different. And the WAVE Group will simply work with you. Again, look at your objectives. What are you trying to do? And come up with proposals that will make sense to you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ron. So for the brokers on the call, if you want to get started or you want to find out a little bit more about how you can leverage this service, please reach out to David at wavegroup.com. As we've said, every broker is different. The pricing is going to be based upon the scope of work. How many people are we analyzing? What the circumstances are. We'll absolutely be able to review that with you, get a proposal together for you, possibly run, a couple scenarios for you in order for you to understand how this process is going to benefit your business. So I really appreciate you all coming today. As I mentioned, we did record today's webinar. We'll be saving a copy of it and sending it to you all, and we'll be publishing it on RE Technology and WAVE Group, as well as through email. So I really appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you, David. Thank you, Ron. I think what you've done is nothing short of a miracle. You have really brought forward the opportunity for brokers to have better insights into their commission plans and to be able to determine ways that they can streamline those commission plans to operate more efficiently as an organization, as well as hopefully find some more broker dollars. So thank you, gentlemen, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you to all the attendees. Yeah, go ahead.
One last comment.
Yeah.
I built this as a knowledge-based tool. This is to empower decision-making. We see too many brokers at all levels, whether they're highly enterprise sophisticated companies to the ones most companies are sophisticated, but they tend to guess. They tend to shoot from the hip thinking, well, let's give it a try. What we're trying to do is remove the guessing, put in the knowledge so you can have a much more impactful decision-making process, so that you could make sure that at the end of the year, you go, oh my, that was a terrible decision. Look how much money I've lost doing that. Or that was a great decision, and look how much I've gained that I can make my company grow. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us. And we hope you enjoyed the presentation, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much, Ron. And thank you, everyone. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.